Welcome to Jurassic Park.
That is one big pile of
Crap!
So a little while ago, I decided to go ahead and give this lesser-known game Sun and Bone a try. There wasn't much marketing or hype as it was developed by a smaller studio called TeamKill Media and released to pretty much zero fanfare. Being a fan of shooters and dinosaurs, though, it seemed like it might be interesting as it looked to be trying to replicate both the modern incarnations of Doom and the old Turok franchise. So was it able to pull this off? I'm so glad you asked. So as far as plot goes, there isn't much, but basically you play as Sam Judge, a sheriff of this town back in the 1800s who is hunting down this notorious bandit who made off with the daughter of one of the local families. You catch up to him at his campfire, and after a brief standoff, this giant portal opens up above you, and you get transported to another world filled with dinosaurs and dino-human hybrids. This all being orchestrated by a mysterious group of aliens who you briefly see on screen right before starting the first level.
Right.
So after acquiring a weapon to defend yourself, you head off on your way to rescue the girl and bring the bandit to justice. So as you can probably tell, the graphics aren't exactly the greatest, but they also aren't the worst I've ever seen. Looking at you, the Lord of the Rings Gollum or Skull Island Rise of Kong.
We can't find it. The precious is gone.
You serious?
Some of the dinosaurs actually look pretty cool, and at the very least, there's some variety to the list of environments you'll be trekking through across the 6 main levels in the game. You start off in the jungle for the first, followed by a swamp, beach, maze, wasteland, and the alien city for the finale. I can see the creative team was firing on all cylinders as they racked their brains trying to come up with names for the levels.
Was that sarcasm?
I can always appreciate variety in the biomes that appear in a game, but unfortunately, despite the different locations, the level design itself falls short. In terms of the sound design, the guns sound punchy, and some of the more intense combat music that kicks on whenever you're in the middle of a big fight gets the blood flowing. Unfortunately, that's about all I can say in terms of positives when it comes to the visual and audio design. That being because I quickly realized how boring and repetitive the level design was. The entire level only has one music track playing in the background unless the combat music kicks on, and that the voice acting, which wasn't very good, sounds like they recorded it while in the bathroom at the dev studio.
You lost there, cowboy? Whoa, now, I don't bite. You can trust me.
The gameplay here really reminds me of Doom and Turok, specifically Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, as it attempts to combine the fast-paced combat and traversal of the Doom games with dinosaurs. On that front, I have to admit, while they did a decent job here, it still has a high level of jank to it. Your character moves quickly, you can double jump, swing from grapple points floating around the levels, and dash on the ground and in the air to avoid incoming enemy attacks and projectiles. Speaking of enemies, I have to say that I was fairly impressed by the variety on offer in this game. At first I thought it was going to just be the same enemy types over and over, but as I progressed through the levels I started to notice how some of the dinosaurs themselves were being experimented on, and they had different guns and cannons attached to them where their arms should be. Which is basically every boy's fantasy to have dinosaurs and guns merged together. In terms of the weapons on offer here, it's more or less your standard fare. You start off with a jawbone as a melee weapon before finding a pistol, then a shotgun, etc. While most of these guns can eventually be found throughout the levels, it's far quicker and more efficient to just buy them from the store. You might be asking yourself, how in the world is there a store when you've just been transported to an alien world with dinosaurs running amok everywhere? And not to worry, because the store clerk will tell you how he got there and some of the worst voice acting I've ever heard in a game.
Give me one reason I should trust you. I've got guns.
Through the store, I was able to purchase a Thompson submachine gun, a sniper rifle, and a grenade launcher, just to name a few. You cycle through all of these weapons utilizing a weapon wheel that has 2 slots for each weapon type. So you'll have 2 types of pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, etc. The only exception being the light machine guns, where you'll have 3 slots, one for the Gatling gun, an MG42, and an alien weapon. There are also different ammo types that can be found throughout the game, like explosive shells for the shotgun, but unfortunately there's no indication on your HUD of which ammo type is equipped. But there's far more regular ammo available, so you'll probably have that equipped most of the time anyway. I found that the MG42 and rocket launcher were some of the most OP weapons in the game, especially when it came to dispatching the tougher dinosaurs. I have to admit, the minigun in particular was pretty fun, especially combined with the physics engine of this game that sent the deadly dinos soaring into the stratosphere. Of course, this wouldn't be a Doom clone without some type of ultimate weapon similar to the BFG, and in Sun and Bone it's called the Eos Kicker. Believe me when I say this baby packs a punch.
That's freaking cool.
This thing was so ridiculously OP that you could melt down a boss's health in 3 or 4 shots. However, there is very limited ammo for it, so I guess that helps to balance it out. Well, I hope you're comfortable because it's time to talk in depth about the problems of this game, and I've got a lot of them. For starters, the level design and layout is pretty terrible, as there isn't really anything that interesting going on or any cool secrets to find off the beaten path. On top of that, these have to be some of the longest levels in any game I've ever played, some of which stretched on for nearly 2 hours, which is just insane.
2 hours later. Oh, brother!
Another big problem is just how spongy some of the dinosaurs are, taking literally dozens of rounds of ammunition to put down, and don't even get me started on the alien enemies.
Why won't you die?
You'd think with all of the ammo pickups strewn about the levels there would be enough, but typically I found it would always be for weapons I wasn't using most of the time. The other major offense this game commits is just the sheer multitude of asinine bugs and glitches it has. My first complaint has to deal with the weapon wheel, as when you're trying to select the Gatling gun or MG42, it would often not even select a weapon from that category.
What?
Oh, brother!
Even when trying to switch between weapons in that light machine gun category, it would glitch out and I'd have to do this multiple times for it to work. It was bad enough when I was trying to conserve ammo, but then occasionally the trigger would get stuck and my weapon would continue firing even after letting go of it.
You know, Vern, this must be some kind of a cigarette lighter. I know nothing. I see nothing.
Also, apparently the devs don't know how to program a proper counter because occasionally I would deplete all of my ammo and somehow end up with -1 rounds.
NANI?!
Like the last bullet I fired somehow took an extra one from another dimension or something. The enemies glitching out was a trip in and of itself, as sometimes they just wouldn't notice me at all, and other times the dinosaurs were able to walk across lava. I'm sure Anakin would be jealous if he saw that.
What in the world?
I had one glitch in the first level where the heavy metal combat music just never stopped playing, even though I had dealt with all the enemies on screen and was just running around. Let me tell you, that was more out of place than Ace Ventura at a metal concert. Not enough for you? Okay, then how about this? In level 4, there are a bunch of traps going off everywhere to try to kill you, but after some experimentation, I found that after they closed in, you could just phase right through them. Wait, what?
Bruh.
On top of everything else I just listed here, there just seems to be a moderate amount of jank to everything. From some of the judgment kills being hard to see what your character is even doing, to the laser grappling gun just disappearing out of your hand after you use it a couple of times in quick succession. It's just a shame because I do think that there are some good and interesting ideas here. They are just weighed down so heavily by the myriad bugs and glitches, but at the same time, I hate to say, just poor game design. In terms of morality, this game is rated M for mature as it features blood and gore and intense violence, as I'm sure you noticed through the gameplay footage. Thankfully, there's not really any language to speak of as there isn't that much dialogue in the first place, and when there is, you can barely understand it as it doesn't automatically turn down the in-game sound and music to even hear what the characters are saying. To be fair though, the only guy who really talks to you is the shopkeeper, except at the beginning and ending of the game.
I think this is some kind of game, Sam. When I got here, I wasn't able to take it. There were multiple people with me. When I woke up, I heard these loud sirens go off. Like you, I also had a cuff. Not too long after, I came across some of the people I was taken with. Louder, son!
So when I heard that there was an old school shooter coming out that looked like a combination of Doom and Turok, I couldn't help but be a little excited. I thought that this game was coming from a smaller team and would be more focused on gameplay than story and spectacle, which sounded really refreshing with all the AAA slop that's been releasing lately. I had my doubts, but for the sake of helping others make a purchasing decision, I decided to take the plunge. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, I feel like the discounted price I paid of $15 was still too much, and I definitely feel bad for anyone who paid the full price of $30. It was nice of TeamKill Media to offer it at a discounted price instead of the standard $70 for a brand new game, but this one just falls short in just about every aspect. For every mechanic or enemy type I found interesting, there were two that cropped up to hamper the experience and deter me from seeing it through to the end. And that is why the final verdict for Sun and Bone is going to be a 4 out of 10. a below-average shooter that fails to live up to the inspirations it draws from. I'd say for your time and money, go play anything else. The modern Doom games like 2016 and Eternal are far better experiences in every way. And with the Dark Ages right around the corner, there are far better games out there to occupy your time. I wish all the best to TeamKill Media and hope that they learn from this experience, but if their catalog of games is anything to go by, I won't hold my breath. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as it really helps me out on the road to get to 100 subscribers. To those of you who are already, I appreciate you all so much, and I thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. That's going to be it for today, everyone, so God bless you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm wishing you God's best for now and throughout all eternity.